Welcome back, welcome back. This week, campaigning began in Afghanistan for August's presidential election. President Hamid Karzai now faces 40 challengers. Of those, 2 are women. So will Afghanistan ever be ready for a woman president? And has life really changed very much for Afghani women? Earlier, I spoke to the prominent MP and women's rights campaigner, Shukria Barakzai. I asked her whether she was winning, did she think, in the struggle for women's rights in her land. Shukria, would you say at the moment that you obviously haven't won the battle for women's rights in Afghanistan outright yet, but would you say you are winning the struggle?
We are winning the struggle, and past 7 or near to 8 years was the golden year for Afghan women. At least we got the right to talk about our own rights as a women being in Afghanistan.
And what was it like before that? I mean, you suffered from the Taliban, didn't you, before that?
Taliban regime wasn't the only regime that we suffered. Yes, we suffered from the previous regime before Taliban, which is we called Mujahideen term. And also we suffered from the term which is the government was supported by Russian time or communist regime. Still we are suffering, still it's not Afghanistan a cuckoo land, but not that much as it was before. For women, the darkest age was during the Civil War and during the Taliban.
During both. But I mean, were you actually the victim of violence or just prejudice in those years?
Both, till today.
Right. Violence too?
Violence is engaged with our history, unfortunately, and the custom and tradition is more powerful than our religious, which is we are practicing more in Afghanistan.
But you do have 28% of people in Parliament are women, and that's more than here, 20% here. So
yeah.
That must be progress.
This is a progress. We got equal rights according to our constitution. We just make sure to have a reserved seat for women to be as a political participant and their political rights. But if we say that with these 25 or 27% women in parliament, things will may change for the benefit and profit of Afghan women, no, it's a very small step. We need more hard work and support.
Do Afghan men vote for women candidates?
Yes.
They do?
They do. They believe.
That's progress too, I suppose.
For sure. But it also depends on women, how they can keep this vote and this trust.
And what are the next things you want? What in your battle? What are the next things you'd like?
I love to see not just women as a piece of show, as a truth and as a reality to be accepted by our community. And what I love to see, a woman's a real leader for the country, and for sure one day as a president.
And in fact, but there's still, the traditions are still there. I mean, your husband, for instance, took a second wife, didn't he? Was that difficult?
It was, but since it's a reality in the countries, and particularly in Muslim countries, even non-Muslim, they can do that. But what is important, still he support me, still we understand each other. Of course, it was hard, and I got another feeling and power when this accident happened to me. I got a new power that I should do more, at least something for other women to not be a victim.
And in terms of who will be president, I gather that Hamid Karzai would be the favourite at the moment to win.
Well, if we want or not, this is the truth. Yeah, he is. And none of any other candidates for the time being, they are not serious as much as President Karzai.
We talked about how almost 8 years ago the Taliban were at that point defeated, as it were, but that they've come back. There's been a sort of resurgence in parts of the country, Helmand province and
yes.
a couple of other provinces as well. Has that affected you? I mean, do you fear the return of the Taliban, or do you think they won't advance further than they are now?
I don't believe that they will be back in power. I don't believe that. because today Afghanistan is much different than, let's say, than 1996, which is Taliban get power at the time. It's a different age and different page in the history of Afghanistan. And I'm sure sooner or later Afghans will may find a right way of life and for their own political life too. But Taliban and Talibanism is a reality that no one can deny. What is important? We want to kill them, or we want to talk with them and give them the chance and opportunity.
Well, you have a great way with you of talking. You're a very brave figure, and you've had death threats. Talking of violence, you've had death threats,
Yeah.
haven't you?
Yes.
How many?
So many times since I start my work publicly, although I was working during the Taliban as well, as a home teacher, as an underground secret school teachers at the time. But since I worked and I was talking about warlordism, I was talking about freedom, human rights, women's rights, yes, I got lots of death threat. And my office will be attacked, and there was a car bombs and everything. But I'll be very happy, and it will be a great privilege for me to die for something which is I wish. And this is my way that I choose myself.
Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you.
We really appreciate it, and we admire your courage.
Thank you.
Next up, one of the world's most astonishing mind readers. Prepare to be puzzled or dazzled after this break.